Welcome to another edition of the Nightly Nugent. And Ted, there's some positive things going on. Obviously, the world's opening back up. I mean, COVID's kind of going back in the rearview mirror. I don't know if it's because the CDC came out and said, oh, wait a minute, we miscalculated these numbers. It wasn't as bad as it seems. I mean, who knows? But what I do know is that things are opening up, Ted. The world's trying to get back to normal. What's your take on all this, kind of post-COVID atmosphere?
Well, I would like to welcome the rest of the world to join the Nugent Spirit Wild Campfire, where truth, logic, and common sense and rugged individualism and independence rules the day. So all I can say is that truth has finally come full circle. But isn't it amazing the abuse of power so obvious by the United States government that when all of a sudden we have midterm elections coming out, that everything they've done that was a scam and a hoax and a lie, they're finally backing away from, thinking that the American public will forget how abusive they were, where they destroyed the middle class. They destroyed mom and pop businesses while they buoyed their big giant giant box stores to benefit the big corporations while hurting the middle class. The middle class has finally figured it out. And I'm not knocking all of the middle class, because that's who I hunt with. That's who I rock and roll with. That's who I fish with. That's who I raise hell with. That's who I barbecue with. That's who I go to the shooting range with. I know these people. I am the middle class daddy. And the majority of them already knew that it was a scam when small businesses were being shut down. So finally, I think those of us that knew better, that poked the big bear, the toxic bear of the United States government, and we woke up our friends and our families and people at church and school and at the workplace, at the deer camp, and we finally started speaking our mind, because a lot of people were intimidated not to speak up. So these are great return to positive America spirit, and just in time for the midterms, because we can see that the leftist agenda is absolutely terminally destructive for the American quality of life, particularly that middle class engine that drives the quality of life in the United States of America. Mom and pop businesses, that man in the arena work ethic, that entrepreneur who creates jobs and tries again, that never gives up. So those are the people that are learning. It's time they registered. It's time they voted their core values. And we have found a great success at hunternation.org, where we don't endorse any candidate, but hunternation.org has woke people up that if you don't stand up for God, family, country, Constitution, Bill of Rights, 10 Commandments, Golden Rule, work ethic, law and order, if you don't stand up for the foundational values that made America a quality of life so wonderful, then that the enemies of that quality of life will continue to trample us underfoot. A great awakening happening. So hopefully the Ted Nugent Detroit Muscle Rock and Roll Tour will be unleashed. And it actually starts out in Panama City on April 29th at a big beach bash. And on the 30th, the next night, Kid Rock is headlining. So hopefully the rock and roll soundtrack for middle finger, independent, rugged individualism, that entrepreneur, man in the arena attitude and spirit that I have perfected the soundtrack for, will be unleashed across this country. And as goes the Ted Nugent tour, goes the American quality of life defiant dream. So I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Awesome. And one thing I really enjoy, Ted, is getting the mask off of people. You can see little kids smiling. You can actually hear laughter. You can see people's expressions. I mean, what a complete joke that was. I'm actually very pleased to start seeing all that kind of in the rearview mirror.
I love looking my fellow man in the face. Yes. And, I walk the not so mean streets of America every day. I was at the feed mill this morning in Waco, Texas, with a bunch of rancher and farming buddies, and I've never seen anybody wearing a mask there. There's still a wonderful, wonderful middle finger celebration of defiance in this country. But if anything is accomplished on the Nightly Nuge, Keith, and what you represent and all the good people in our lives represent, we, the people, must maintain critical thinking. The American experiment in self-government is about being suspicious of people in authority. Even though we vet them and vote for them, we must maintain pressure to hold them to constitutional accountability.
Well, Ted, get one of those flame-throwing guitars tuned up and ready to go, because tomorrow night, if everyone comes back, we'll have another Friday free-for-all edition of the Nightly Nooch.